Welcome back. Minister of State for Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, has ordered an investigation into the use of an unauthorized equipment by aero contractors airlines at the Bauchi airport. Reports suggest the airline used a ladder to disembark passengers from a Boeing 737 aircraft. Federal authorities say the act is inconsistent with the Nigeria Civil Aviation Regulations and the International Civil Aviation Organization standards and recommended practices. In the meantime, Deputy Director for Press and Public Affairs at the Aviation Ministry, James Odaudu, says the investigation is expected to determine the cause of the incident. The inquiry also looks at developing and implementing measures aimed at preventing a recurrence of unsatisfactory procedure that could expose passengers to high risk. The minister notes regulatory authorities will not relent to enforce sanctions if the airline is found culpable. Former President Olusegun has advised state governments to build good roads in order to achieve rapid growth and economic development. He said this at the commissioning of some recently completed roads in Aba, the commercial hub center of Abia State. The former president commended the efforts of the Abia State government to ensure socio-economic development.
Arriving at the venue of the completed road project with Governor Ikpeazu is the former president, Chief Olusegun and his entourage to witness the delivery of enhanced infrastructural development aimed to boost the socio-economic growth of the state. With the commissioning done, the former president disclosed that the steps taken by the state government to improve on road infrastructure will indeed boost trade across the southeast region.
Governor, you are doing the right thing by providing infrastructure in transportation. And you know, I'm a careful observer. I'm not singing my own praises. I'm just saying what I know. When these drainages are provided, please don't clog them up with
road reconstruction. But there's a departure here because we are building roads that lead to areas that make sense. Because our bus USP is commerce. So the roads we are concentrating on are roads that lead to markets so that commerce can thrive. To our left is Port Harcourt, over there is Imo, Enugu, Akwa Ibom, Cross River. So this is where they buy from. So if they have no roads to get into Aba to buy, then our people will not make progress. That is our own node for growth and transformation.
The three roads commissioned include Onne Drive, Kamalu Road, and Umola Road.
In nearby Imo State, government workers, both at the state and federal levels, have embarked on separate marches to demonstrate their grievance against their employers. Workers of the Imo State Civil Service are kicking against a form of acknowledgement of salaries introduced by the government, while staff of the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, are demanding promotions. The Imo State government says its policy is purely administrative with no intent to hurt anyone, while authorities at the university say they will promote members of staff as vacancies open.
Angry workers of the Imo State Civil Service in Owerri protesting outside the state secretariat. This form is the reason for their protest. The first part of the form mandates workers to fill an acknowledgement for the receipt of salary arrears, which the workers describe as odd. But that is not the contentious part. The second part of the form asks workers to acknowledge the fact that the economy of the nation is dwindling and has affected Imo State, and so workers, quote, voluntarily support and endorse any action or policy of government against any worker who, in the opinion of government, is suspected to be inefficient, indolent, redundant, corrupt, manipulates his or her age, exhibits grievous indiscipline, etc. End of quote.
This is the form by government being issued to the workers to fill. Inside this form, they highlighted all punishments that is to be meted and seeking the consent of the worker, even put etc., seeking the consent of the workers of Imo State to sign and then giving them the permission to now do with them whatever they feel.
The state government, however, says it's simply an administrative policy.
This is purely administrative procedure and is born out of government policy. There is no reason undercurrent associated with it. It is government policy that workers should be reminded of what they should know about the public service.
The Nigeria Labour Congress in the state has directed its members to collect their salaries and forget any acknowledgement form.
Labour made and came up with a resolution that one, the workers' salaries per month shouldn't be in any condition at all. That no worker in Imo State is to sign this form.
While the dust and the protest of the state civil servants is yet to settle, their counterparts in the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, also went on a march to protest the non-promotion of their members of staff. The unions affected include the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, the Non-Academic Staff Union, and the National Association of Academic Technologists. And one after the other, their leaders took turns to address them.
Non-teaching staff promotions have not been released for 2 years running. The management actually introduced obnoxious appraisal guidelines to target staff members' promotions as against what is contained in the current university scheme of service. This is also against our 209 SANU federal government SANU-NASU NAT agreement.
The university administration, however, frowned on the workers' protest, saying it didn't get notice.
The last year, over 500 people, staff of this university, were promoted. And the records are there. So it's misinformation to say that people were not promoted. The problem we have in the system is we don't have vacancies.
The tide of the economy has brought about sensitive times for both workers and employers of labor. And dialogue has proven an efficient instrument in smoothing out areas of disagreement. Employers and workers in Imo State would do well to employ this useful tool.
Over in Kwara State, Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed has held a meeting with various stakeholders explaining his plan to obtain a 20 billion naira bond from the capital markets. The meeting, which held at the banquet hall opposite the government house, was attended by labor leaders, artisans and corporate organizations. Governor Ahmed says monthly federal allocation to the state has dropped from 3.2 billion naira to 1.8 billion naira, hence the need to find alternative sources of income. The projects earmarked for the bond cover all sectors, including a second overhead bridge, construction of schools, roads and healthcare facilities.
Our recurrent expenditure was largely be funded from the Federation allocation. However, we are all aware also that with the dwindling revenues from the federal government, it is going to be a bit difficult to expect to carry out capital projects from the federal allocation. That is why it has become expedient for government to raise monies from alternative areas to carry on projects across the 16 local governments that cut across water, roads, energy, schools, agriculture, and of course health. Part of the source of funding is the bond. There are other sources of funding, i.e. there are counterpart funded funds that are coming in from the federal government to support social development projects. And of course there are other funding windows, but one of it is the bond. Because the bond requires to be articulately prepared and also implemented. That is why it has become necessary to explain to the people. The bond on its own will require to go to the House of Assembly to give consent on accessing.
And now to the arts. As we move around every day, our minds are filled with many thoughts, from what to wear, what to eat, where to go, and how to provide for our families. Unraveling what goes on in the mind of a man or a woman is the objective of John Madu, an artist whose style borders along the lines of surrealism and figurative symbolism. Art Review tonight brings you an exhibition this young artist calls Morphogenesis, an exploration of thoughts and how it affects actions.
Right inside this building in Lagos, southwest Nigeria, a story is being told. A tale that speaks on the many thought patterns we move around with. What captivates the beholder is the manner through which the artist narrates. These enthusiasts engage the artist to know how close they are to unraveling the mystery of his mind.
Here I see something that's both decorative and expressive of a message.
The employment of surrealism and figurative symbolism as styles in this exhibition titled Morphogenesis is as complex a style as his subject matter, the mind. And for John Madu, it does not get more complicated than that.
This is called Within Without. It shows man, an ambitious man, the way his ambitions affect his relationships with people, the way men, because we are chasing stuff, we're chasing things, chasing money, chasing dreams, our relationships are usually affected by all these things we believe in. That's why I portrayed a female figure inside the figure as a whole, basically. Then that one is called The Gift of Hope, and it talks, the red flower is actually metaphorical for planting a new world and the way we have utopia in our minds, the way we want our world to be, the way we think our world should be. So it's metaphorical, and you see from the tree is symbolic for life and all that. So I put a touch of red to make it show life, because red is vibrant.
The works are a period of 2 years, and for John, every second was worth it. John Madu is a self-taught artist attempting to bridge art and emotions. How successfully he has achieved this depends on the feeling of the beholder, and it appears from how he touches on almost all subjects of the mind. It will be difficult not to be drawn in.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigerian striker Odoyin Igalo bags a brace as Watford trash Liverpool 3-0. We'll have details in sports news. Please stay with us.